Imagine for a moment, if you will, that one of your loved ones or friends was arrested for something. Now, let's not get too wrapped up over what that arrest was for, because this isn't about what the person may or may not have done. That's not for the police to decide, it's for a court to decide. So let's say your loved one or friend was arrested and taken to a police station to be questioned and processed. During their stay at the police station, they were faced with being verbally abused while being booked in by the police. They, for whatever reason, soiled themselves in the cell whilst being strip searched and then left in it, rather than being removed to a cleaner, safe cell. Now let's imagine that they were, again, for whatever reason, be it they were drunk or a medical condition, they were falling over, slipping in their own waste as they were left in their cell with it, whilst the police looked on via CCTV and laughed at them. Now let's ramp this up and imagine that your loved one or friend then fell over and hit their head, bearing in mind those walls and floors are solid reinforced concrete. Then imagine that the police watching this play out on CCTV laughed and failed to call for medical assistance to check on that person, and in fact actively discouraged others from requesting a doctor to attend. What would you think? It's pretty shocking behaviour, and behaviour you would not generally expect from the police. In fact, many people watching this might find this a bit of a tall story. Well, think again, because not only does this happen more than you might think, it's exactly what former Avon and Somerset Police Sergeant Gareth Starr did to a man in custody at Bridgewater Police Station on the 17th of February 2019. In fact, former Avon and Somerset Police Sergeant Gareth Starr currently faces a misconduct hearing to be held on the 26th of November to answer 9 accusations of misconduct relating to the events I just asked you to imagine. The 9 accusations against former Sergeant Gareth Starr are making a derogatory comment to the detained person during the booking in process, failing to visit and rouse the detained man every 30 minutes or having the prisoner assessed to determine whether he was rousable, not organising clinical treatment for the man after the detained person stripped off, urinated on the floor, defecated on the cell door and stood in the waste, failed to remove him or seek advice on what action to take, watching CCTV of the man slipping and falling several times, laughing at him and calling him derogatory names, failing to challenge junior officer and other staff for also laughing at the detained person and making disparaging comments, instructing the detention officer not to go to the cell after the detained man fell, hit his head and remained motionless for around 10 seconds, failing to inform a doctor that the man had hit his head and actively discouraging the doctor from attending the man, and during his handover to another sergeant, failing to inform that officer that the detained person had fallen and hit his head. It's said that the hearing will hear how former Avon and Somerset Police Sergeant Gareth Starr's behaviour and language could reasonably be perceived to be abusive, oppressive, harassing, bullying, victimising or offensive by the public or his policing colleagues. Further, he failed to treat the detained person with courtesy and failed to carry out his role and responsibilities as custody sergeant in an efficient, diligent and professional manner. All of which were a gross failure to carry out his duties and obligations to the best of his ability, with actions said to have brought discredit on the police force. Now, the unfortunate thing about this incident is that although it may not be common practice in police custody, it still happens far more than it should, and seeing as the police love using the word could or perceived, I wonder if the hearing will be taking into account the fact that the behaviour could have led to far worse consequences for the detained person, could have resulted in far worse injury or even death, and likely did cause mental anguish to the detained person and their family. And with those 9 accusations being pretty damn serious, let's hope that former Avon and Somerset Sergeant Gareth Starr is dealt with appropriately. However, as he is a former sergeant, no doubt advised to leave before his hearing, it's unlikely that any action taken will be worthy. In fact, it sounds to me like former Sergeant Gareth Starr should be in the dock for criminal charges rather than a misconduct hearing. I would of course keep you updated and let you know the outcome. Big thank you to channel supporters, especially these guys. Your support is truly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.